the pictures you like.
I can't stand it.
So you're aware the tail gunner had to get in through that back hatch then, huh? He lived back there, because all this area around the hump you see there, that would all be filled up with survival gear and supplies. You could not even come up to this part of the aircraft. Where are you guys from?
Portland.
Oh, okay. And he told you these were strictly high altitude daytime bombers?
No, he didn't.
Flying between 18,000 and 30,000 feet. Which meant, since it's not pressurized, you're on oxygen full time. The missions lasted 4 to 12 hours. A 10-man crew on every airplane, and 12 50 caliber machine guns on every airplane minimum. This G model B-17, which is you're standing in, was the last model built from 1943 to 1945, World War II when the war ended, and they quit building. Before the G model, like the Memphis Belle, no plexiglass. You're up there 25,000 feet and it's wide open. All this area in here be pure white with frost and ice.
Yeah.
The whole freezing inside the airplane the whole time.
Glad to have the 12 guns.
These were your flight cables, the pilots and co-pilots. They'd be going back and forth to make the airplane climb and turn and so forth, go to all the flights.
So did that have hydraulics?
No hydraulic assist. It's strictly manual. And unfortunately, they were not redundant. If this big one went to the rudder and severed,
Maybe after the co-pilot?
Go back up. Why that happened, I don't know. Even had to have heaters across the tops of these. They'd freeze up when you weren't using them. Like I say, missions lasted 4 to 12 hours, so a lot of the times you weren't in enemy area, and they would freeze up.
Oh, wow.
That's always why they wear leather gloves and all that. So that way their hands didn't freeze to the guns and everything.
Yeah. Underneath the big heavy flight suits, like you see out there, underneath those, they're wearing another flight suit. It's real thin, whole body, hands and feet that he plug into the electrical system of the airplane to keep it from freezing. Because it's below freezing inside this airplane on every mission they fly. One of those things.
So why were they wearing like some kind of mask with like a little bubble thing?
The whole thing. There's a picture out here on the desk. Maybe he didn't show that to you. But any piece of skin exposed on any mission, guaranteed to be frostbitten when you got back.
Wow.
If you got back.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the odds were against it. All the ammunition for the waist guns in the box, through the metal sleeve into the gun.
9 yards.
9 yards long, 750 rounds. You know that. Okay. There's your ball turret. Had to hang his parachute up on the wall, roll the ball around until the hatch was up here on top. Open up the hatch, step down into it, hook everything up, and then you were good to go. Unfortunately, if you lost the hydraulics, you were stuck. You couldn't get back up to get out.
And then when they had to land, you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, if you lost the gear. Okay, let's go up here and watch your head on these things. There's side ammo.
Holy crap.
Radio man's room.
Nice.
He had his own little room.
Nice little comfy room.
And he was a texter, like they're doing today. Actually, back in the 1940s, they did the same thing. They called it Morse code then. You didn't have this thing to look at.
Didn't they also have a radio?
Radio's here, radio's there.
But short distance compared to the Morse code.
UHF, yeah, all different types. And he was a photographer. This carpet section, a door opened up, 2 camera bays down in there. And he had a remote control he could utilize to take pictures of the bombs falling and so forth. If the weather permitted. Next room is your bomb bay, where they carried all the bombs. There's 3 100-pounders hanging there on the right side, just to give you an idea of what the sizes are like. And they carried everything from 100-pound bombs up to 2,000-pound bombs.
They also have the manual crank for the landing gears if the hydraulics went out.
It took a long time. This steel beam going from here to the front was not erected as a walkway per se. Everybody up in the front, 5 people got in through the hatch hanging open underneath the nose. I can get between these 2 uprights. I'm thin, I'm small. I'd say 9 out of the 10 crew members probably would not be able to do that with a big heavy flight suit.
Oh, okay.
And the parachutes.
Wow.
There'd be bombs hanging on the outside, so they couldn't swing around either. Everybody, when they got in, they stayed where they're at. Got this connected to it. If the minute you lose it, you'd have to grab a green bottle to get by. So they didn't move around that much at all. Now then, up in the front on the top you had your pilot on the left, co-pilot on the right. Right behind the co-pilot was a flight engineer, and he also fired the 2 top turret and caliber machine guns that you see on the top of the airplane. And below those 3 and out in the nose of the airplane, you have your bombardier. You can see him standing right out in front of the airplane.
Oh, okay.
And right behind him, or beside him there, is the Norden bomb sight. 1940s mechanical computer, believe it or not. He would program the computer, this is where I want to drop these bombs. And the last 10 to 15 minutes before they dropped it, the Norden bomb sight flew the airplane. The pilot took his hands off. Altitude was locked in with the autopilot, and this arrow's pointing to this little knob. It's showing him correct a little to the right, a little to the left, whatever it takes to take it right to the pre-programmed spot to drop. I guess he wasn't busy enough, though. He also had to fire the 2 chin guns under the nose. And behind him, 2 chairs. They were that's where the navigator operated. He'd go from side to side because he also had to fire these 2 cheek guns, one on each side of the nose of the airplane. Busy, busy.
Now, those 2 guys, could they pop up and talk to the pilot?
They had intercom on the aircraft.
Okay.
That's what you'd have to do. It's 2
So,
ways.
all the things you see in the movie about them always popping up and going forward, they don't do that.
Not very often. Not very often. They could. There's underneath that deck, they'd have to come this way and then stand up. Yeah, it didn't work that well. Here's what's happened while they're trying to bomb. Here's a B-17, 4 B-17s. All the rest is German flak. The shells exploding at their altitude. Sometimes close to 1,000 German gun replacements around really important targets and areas leading into them. And here's a picture of this airplane after the war. Dropped a fire retardant. It was a force fire bomb. So, everybody flying these things were young. Bill sitting out there underneath the nose, flew his 30 missions, lucked out, and got to come home. When he got his brand new B-17 and his 9 crew members, he was 18 years old. He was a captain of the aircraft, the oldest person in his crew was 20. Unfortunately, in the beginning, average number of missions before being shot down was between 5 and 7. We didn't have any fighters protecting these guys. They didn't have enough fuel range until we got the B-51s and the B-38s. Then things changed dramatically. They still lost over 5,000 B-17s total. Over 26,000 crew members were lost also. Not a good deal. Of all the B-17s that were built, they built 12,731. Out of all of those, as of today, there are only about 50 left in the world.
Wow.
And out of the 50, there's only 9 or less that are flyable or turned into.
Yeah, I thought maybe the Rebel Air Force had one.
Well, the Commemorative Air Force, they call it now, and the Collins Foundation. They fly around air shows.
Well,
and so
I think
forth.
they were at the air show one year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a hell of a thing to see.
Oh, yeah.
B-17. I mean, it's loud.
Yeah, if you want to spend $450 for a half hour, you can go for a ride.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty much the story on these airplanes.